We're Hasani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Welcome everyone to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hasani. Good to have you on with me here this morning. Wherever you're tuning in from, we're thankful. We're thankful for you being a part of the community. The community is growing. It's a global relationship that we have because people all over the world dial in to be able to get some insight and wisdom on their particular relationship. We just finished a very successful solo spouse intensive with someone from Paris. It was amazing. And so we appreciate the fact that those people in all 4 corners of the earth are getting information that can be impactful for them. And then they want to do a deeper dive. And so we're excited about her and her relationship and her future. And so if you're in need, you know how to reach out to us. We're at 678-200-8996. Just go to the website, set up a discovery call. We would love to serve you with a spirit of excellence. We would love to be a part of your restoration story. All right, guys, we're in a series. We've been talking about the consequences of infidelity, right? The consequences of infidelity on the marriage. And then we kind of transitioned and talk about the consequences that the betrayed spouse suffers. But today we're going to be talking about the consequences of the unfaithful. What do they go through? Because there's a lot of pain on that side as well. And we want to take the time to explore it. And before we dive in, if you're watching this and maybe you are the one who was unfaithful, what pain, what consequences, what struggles, what challenges are you experiencing? We want you to drop in the comments so that we can acknowledge you. But before we dive in, listen, we're going to go to a quick commercial. If you haven't downloaded the Couples Academy app, please go ahead and do that. You're missing out on a great opportunity to have an interactive experience with all that we provide. So whether it's ongoing content, video content, our blogs, our articles, the ability to join a group, or even, booking a session with one of our practitioners, all of that can be done. We have Bible devotions. We have everything you need in that app. So go ahead and download the Couples Academy app today. Watch this quick thing and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
Hey guys, we're back. You're watching the Couples Academy Show. What you just saw was a list of the shows that have just released this week. We're excited about it. You've been tuning in. We've been getting great feedback. We're excited about tonight because Danielle's going to come with it, breaking down, understanding, and embracing your Enneagram. That's the show that many people are excited about. People have been loving Lakeisha's show on sex. That's right. I know it's in the morning. We're talking about sex. That's why she has that show in the evening so that you can tune in and get comfortable with your spouse and learn how to turn things up. And then Walter and Charmaine did a great job talking about foundation for your relationship, what you wish you could have known before you said I do, it's not too late because you can go back and make things happen. And so we're excited about that. Listen, we're talking about the consequences of an affair, but I just want to acknowledge all my people from Chicago and New Jersey. Jersey's in the house. Maryland, there we go. South Carolina. We got Georgia, of course, and then we got people from around the world, Michigan. So we're glad that you're here. Let's dive in. We're talking about what does the unfaithful spouse go through. Now, listen, I oftentimes the focus is on the betrayed spouse, of course, but I'm telling you, there's a deep dive hurt and pain that the unfaithful spouse is going through as well. One of the big things that I think we need to start with is this. Your relationship with God could suffer from a break in fellowship. See, you have to understand, a lot of times when a person has an affair, it didn't come out of nowhere. It wasn't just a mistake. It's not like I slipped on a banana peel and found myself in a situation. There were micro decisions. There was erroneous thinking, right? Compartmentalization, justification, entitlement, all types of things that may have happened prior to this affair. And oftentimes when we talk about that, there's three relationships we have, right? The relationship you have with your spouse, that's the primary relationship that we're thinking about, but that is a very horizontal relationship. But the success of this relationship is predicated upon the internal relationship with yourself and your vertical relationship with God. Now, it's interesting because there's a lot of people who are caught off guard by their spouse's affair because in their mind, this is the last person that I would ever expect to do such a thing because of their value system, because of their morality, because of their faith, because of who they present themselves to be. And they begin to do something that is completely polar opposite to their nature. And the reality is, it's possible that there was a breach or a breaking away or a disconnect. We talk about the emotional disconnect that you have with your spouse where you begin to drift off in opposite directions. Well, oftentimes there's this disconnect and drift that you have with your Creator. And the further you get from your source, the more numb you can get, the more spiritual deaf you become, and the decisions that you make are no longer in alignment with the decisions that your God or your Creator, your faith tradition would have you make. You begin to go down your own path. And as a result, you find yourself in situations where now you're compromising the integrity of now this horizontal relationship. And so in many cases, the horizontal relationship, the breach of it, is a effect of the initial cause, which was a breach in the relationship, the vertical relationship with the Creator. And then as a result of that, now that there's a breach in the relationship, it can further cause this relationship to suffer. So some people run back to God and get right and become who they need to become and get connected again. But some stay away for too long, right? Some get caught up in pride and ego, and now they're mad at God somehow. And so we've seen how the relationship, the spiritual relationship, has been broken or tattered or negatively affected because of all of the circumstances that they find themselves in. And when you're spiritually connected, man, that's a lost place to be. And to get back into that place, there are specific steps you need to take, but there's got to be a willingness on your part. And so I just need you to understand that whatever is happening in the natural material world is an outward manifestation of what's really happening in the spiritual world. And so this is why we say, it takes a supernatural intervention and a reliance upon your God to help change your situation around. Because if you begin to rely on your own strength, your own intellect, your own pragmatic thinking, you may continue to remain trapped in the pit that you're in. So you have to be submitted to a higher source, a higher power, wisdom beyond your comprehension, right? Spiritual strength to pull you back into the right place in order to restore the relationship. I'm speaking to somebody. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. I know I'm resonating with somebody. It's quiet in these chat lines, but I hear you even though you're not typing, because this is a very real thing. Because when we're doing intensives and we're working with couples, eventually it all comes out. It all comes out that there's been a disconnection for some time now. So reconnect. And when you begin to do that, the pain that you're suffering begins to go away and you begin to heal. Let's go to the next one. Suffering from the emotional consequences of the guilt and shame. And we've talked about this countlessly, how the unfaithful spouse is trapped in their pain, and it's the pain of guilt and shame. Guilt because of what they've done to their spouse, and they're constantly living in turmoil, particularly in this discovery phase, which is the most volatile phase. And so the constant fighting, the constant arguing, them observing the pain and the anger and the rage and the sadness and the tears of their spouse reinforces the guilt that they feel because that's what they did to their spouse, or they're seeing the consequences that they've had on their family. They just see how things are out of line and out of order, and they played a major role in it. And that weighs on a person's mind and heart. I'm telling you, whether they outwardly express that or not, that is a real struggle that people have. And then the shame. I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I put myself in this situation. I don't even like who I am. I don't even trust who I am. Who is this person? I don't even know. Like, the shame that people stay in is crippling, is debilitating. And when you're trapped in that, see, now there is a healthy dose of guilt and shame, and there should be a shift and a graduation. Like, if a person is in shame, they should graduate into guilt, because shame is a focus on oneself. Guilt is a focus on the other person. And so when people are just stuck in shame, they're so absorbed with themselves that they never consider the pain that their spouse is going through. So if you're going to have these feelings, a healthy dose is good because it helps to produce change. But to remain in it and to have a permanent address in it, and to particularly be trapped in shame, is where you do not want to be, because now you become completely oblivious to what your spouse is going through. And then it becomes a back and forth tug of war, and couples are now competing for who's in the most pain. And that's not a good place to be. So you want to graduate from shame into guilt, and then guilt into freedom and liberation through forgiveness. And this is where forgiveness comes in, because truth be told, a lot of unfaithful people really struggle to forgive themselves. Even when you, as the betrayed spouse, has, and you're ready to move on and start life anew and have a healthy foundation for your future, they are struggling with forgiveness. Either they really find it hard to believe that God would ever forgive them, and so now that breach that took place in the relationship with God, it remains constant. If you think about David, when David sinned in the Bible, it took him a while before he got back into relationship with God. And during that period of isolation from God, so many things began to go wrong. He was trapped in his shame. He hid from God. Maybe he didn't believe that God could forgive him. Who knows? But that's where a lot of people find themselves in. And so they run from church. They run from spiritual conversations. They run from scripture. They run from everything, and they're hiding. They are in hiding. And being in hiding only makes matters worse. And so I can't believe that God would forgive me. I can't accept your forgiveness. I know you say you forgive me. I know you want to move forward, but it's hard for me to accept it because of what I did to you. So I can't accept it from you, and I can't forgive myself. What a miserable place to be in. That is pain. That's pain. And I want you to consider that that's what they may be going through. I tell you right now, if you are the betrayed spouse, I encourage you to sit down and have a conversation with your spouse, whether husband or wife, and ask him or her, what are you going through? What are you dealing with? What are your battles? What are your struggles? How are you showing up and dealing with life on a day-to-day basis? Because I guarantee you, if you give them space to do it, they will share. The reason why the unfaithful person cries in the dark and doesn't reveal a vulnerable disposition towards you is because oftentimes they feel like there's no safety here. I can't share what I'm going through because I'm beat up for how I feel. I don't deserve to hurt. I don't deserve to have pain. It's all about you. So oftentimes you don't realize what they're going through because there's no safe space for them to communicate it with you. I'm going to read some of these comments. Gonzalez says, once I disconnected from the spiritual path during my infidelity, I fumbled horribly. Once I focused on my healing, I started reading the Bible every day nonstop as my recovery, and I think he goes on, as his recovery took place. And so he also goes on to say that forgiveness to yourself is truly important. Very, 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 very true. Darryl says 100% shame and guilt. This is what he's battling with, and I'm sure there's many others out there who could resonate with what he's saying. And then Amanda says, well, what about those who don't have a relationship with a higher power necessarily? And this is true. There are a lot of people who come to us who don't necessarily have a faith tradition. There's not a particular religion that they subscribe to, or maybe they once had a relationship, don't have it anymore. Like real talk, when we deal with atheists and people who are agnostics, overwhelmingly, the ones that we've worked with, they may have chosen that path because of hurt. Have you ever heard of church hurt? Or maybe they had a bad experience with people who claimed a faith tradition. And because they saw the hypocrisy and they suffered bad treatment from human beings who claim a faith, they've rejected the faith altogether. But truth be told, all of them believe that there's something out there. They just don't really know what that is. And so we encourage them to go on a journey of self-discovery, of connecting to whatever that thing is, whatever that source is, because it will take something beyond themselves. They have to surrender and submit themselves to something greater than themselves to get them through. And so, yes, there are some people who wrestle with it. There are some people who on a scale of 1 to 10 would say that they're at a 1 or a 0 when it comes to spiritual awareness or spiritual intimacy. But that is an area that we begin to lean into, and they realize how helpful and healing and free it makes them when they do that. I'm reading these comments in real time. Let me go to this one. Let me put my shades on, my glasses on. Dealing with my husband's affair that lasted 1.5 years has been hard. He gave me the gory details that I didn't ask for, but I can't get an explanation for a lot of details of why he let this affair go on for so long. I wish I could get the affair off my mind. We are seeing a counselor and going back to church. Well, D, I'm glad that you were going back to church. I'm glad that he was transparent and did share things with you. You know, the details is really it's a fine line, because some people want to know, but knowing makes them worse. Some people don't want to know, and not knowing makes them worse. So some people, when they hear the truth, it can help them. Others, it can hurt, harm, or hinder. So there's a delicate line about what's appropriate and what's not. I gave somebody this example the other day. I said, listen, think about the difference between Babyface and Prince. I think you'll get this for those who know who these artists are. They're both talking about intimacy and romance and sex in a relationship. One is gory. One is more appropriate to play on the radio. One is more explicit. One is more creative in their expression. Same message, but it's delivered two different ways. Would you agree with that? Likewise, when it comes to revealing the details of the affair, there's a proper approach so that it doesn't hurt, harm, or hinder, but it actually helps. But the why is really what it's all about. That's where people remain trapped the most. Understanding the why. And so this is why it's so important to help somebody dig into the why. And guess what? The reason why some people fail to tell the details or fail to tell the why is because there's some deeper hurts and pains that they may not be willing to admit to. And this is what I'm saying, guys. Trust and believe. If a person was unfaithful, they were broken. They had their own pain, their own hurt that they did not know how to properly deal with. And so it came out in an unhealthy, destructive way. and as a consequence created pain and hurt and brokenness within you and within the family. It's a real thing. We just had a session with a family and heard from the children about what they were going through as a result of one of the parents' poor choices and bad behaviors. So it affects the entire household, but just know, whatever pain that you are seeing in everybody else, there's a level of pain that the unfaithful partner is going through. Here's another challenge that the unfaithful partner has, whether you realize it or not. A lot of them are spending numerous hours replaying their failure. Now, here's the reality. They don't want to talk about it. Do we need to talk about this? How long are we going to? I just want to move on. I don't want to think about her. I don't want to think about him. I don't want to think about that. They don't want to have conversations with you all day, every day, 24 hours a day for the rest of your life about this. But trust and believe they are having conversations with themselves about it. And they're replaying it again and again and again. And they're beating themselves up about the decisions that they made. And if I could have just did this, and if I hadn't done that, this would never have been my reality. Trust and believe, just like you are haunted by the horrible memories of the past, they are as well. Now, it may not be everyone, but I guarantee you, because we do this, we bring men and women alone in their own social space, and we begin to talk. And when they begin to talk, you begin to get so much insight on what's going on internally. There is a battle that the unfaithful partner is going through where they're constantly wishing that they could replay the past and change and correct. And that's also a part of the problem, because you can't change the past. The only thing that you can do is change your relationship with the past. And so trying to live in, constantly living in regret and wishing it never happened, and man, if I could just turn back the clock, is not productive. The serenity prayer says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Change the things I can, and give me the wisdom to know the difference. I can't change what I have no ability to change. The only thing I can change is what I do today and from this point forward. And when I put my focus on that, that is an outward expression of my ability to properly heal. Let's go to the next one. Job loss resulting from emotional drain and the inability to focus and function. Yeah, let me tell you something. When a person has been unfaithful in a relationship, and now we're talking about this affair and we're in the thick of it. We're in the discovery phase, and it's a very emotional, volatile phase, and we're yelling and we're screaming and things are being broken and we're having conversations. And, here it is. I got to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're just getting started with the conversation at 11 o'clock at night. And there's a need to talk. Or the betrayed spouse couldn't sleep. They woke up, they had a nightmare. Well, if I'm up, you gonna get up and we gonna talk. So now it's 2 o'clock in the morning and we're talking, and I'm tired and I'm lethargic and I'm not my best self, and I'm cranky and I'm attitudinal. And now you mad because I'm sleeping. You up in the middle of the night looking over at me and I'm snoring, and you pissed because how could you be in some deep comatose sleep and I'm the one who's up paying? So we gonna be up. Now, I got to get to work in 45 minutes. I haven't had any sleep. Now I'm tired. Now my brain is fuzzy. I'm making errors and mistakes. I don't know how to show up for work. It's impacting my physical body, my health. And now I'm being written up because of poor performance, or I'm showing up late, or I'm snooty or snappy with customers. I'm not playing as a team member on my team. Everything's now being impacted, which is now affecting the bottom line. Now my financial stability is in question because I am having my own mental internal breakdown. I don't know what to do. I'm struggling on a daily basis. I'm telling you, this is a consequence. The consequence is job loss resulting from an emotional drain and the inability to focus and function. This is a very real thing. So it's beyond you need to leave your job because you had an affair with the person at your job. Of course, yeah, you need to move on because being in that environment is toxic and it creates an ongoing trigger for the spouse. But if that's not the case and they weren't at the job, but you have to get up and go to work as if nothing happens, and you know what it is? Listen, you at work now. You need to leave your problems at home and you need to pay attention, and I need you to be alert and I need you to be all in. Now, if I'm doing something that's physically, requires physical strength, I'm weak. I'm not able to show up. If I'm doing something that requires my brain power, I'm weak because now my brain is foggy and I'm tired and I can't function. Like, it impacts other areas of your life. This is why the healing is so critically important for the unfaithful spouse, for them to get to a place where they can finally be healed and whole and complete. All right, Shalise has a question. I need to hear the whole truth, and I still have questions. I fear that starting the conversation may destroy the progress we've made. These points validate my fear. Yep, I get it. And fear either stifles you and keeps you from doing something, or fear drives you potentially to doing something that is not healthy and does not work. But when we're trapped in that fear, it's a perpetual crazy cycle that you remain in. And this is why we say you have to feel the fear and do it anyway. All the truth that you're looking for may not come out in that one conversation. You have to understand that there's going to be a series of conversations that you're going to have as the truth begins to come out. And real talk, don't do it alone. These conversations oftentimes can't be done alone. When there's a third person there holding you both accountable and they're part of the conversation, pulling questions out, helping to clarify answers, it puts you two in a much better space to get the clarity and understanding that you need. I'm just going to these comments. Just can't really understand how he could hide this from me for so long and how I never saw it. I love him, but the pain in loving him is so great. All I do is make sure no one treats him different. I worry more about how he feels than I think of me. Yeah. This is a real situation. Oftentimes we're protecting our partner. We don't want other people to think about them differently, but we struggle with how in the world did he get away with this for so long? How did I not know? How did I not see? I trusted. I'll never trust again. Ever. I don't even trust myself anymore. We talked about some of those challenges that the betrayed spouse has on yesterday about their inability to trust. It's a global mistrust. I don't trust you. I don't trust myself. I don't trust the relationship. And so it requires a deep dive journey that you take together to begin to find healing where, guess what? Trust can be restored, because there are many couples who have 100% restored trust in their relationship. They do, but it's a process that you have to embrace. Okay, we got a couple more points. Here's the last one. Illness resulting from stress, depression, anxiety, etc. Let me tell you something. You go to the hospital, something's wrong, doc, my heart, my head, I don't know, I got this rash, I'm breaking out, I got this pain on my side, what is it, doc? We do all types of tests, all types of scans, we can't figure it out. I don't know, it's just stress. Like, I can't put my finger on it and say that it's this, it's just stress. And that's something to be alarmed about, because stress metastasizes into sickness and disease. And see, wherever you're experiencing pain in your body, if it's in my heart, if it's in my kidney, if it's in my back, if it's in my eye, if it's in my neck, my shoulder, wherever it is, you have to understand that every physical ailment has a corresponding emotion attached to it. Right? So stress, which are negative emotions that are trapped in your body, cause physical pain in certain parts of your body. So if you can't pinpoint, okay, what is this? There's a book called How to Heal Your Life by Dr. Lewis Hayes. And she says every sickness and disease overwhelmingly is a result of a corresponding emotion. And when you begin to heal the emotion within your body, it heals that area of your body. It's your body talking to you, telling you something's not right, take a deeper dive. And so when you begin to live your life from the inside out and begin to explore the thoughts that are going on through your mind, the feelings and the emotions that you're harboring in your heart and in your body, it's the beginning of the journey back to a healed, whole place. Guys, these are the things that we need to do if we are going to find healing and restoration in our marriage. I mean, we're really just scratching the surface here. We're just giving you just a few things that wind up being consequences of an affair. Everyone's affected by this, but how long do you want to continue to live in this pain? None of you want to live in this, but yet and still some of you choose to do nothing about it. You're hoping that it will just go away. You stick your head in the sand and wish that it never happened. You close your eyes, you close your ears, you turn yourself off to any source of help that you can get. You try to DIY it yourself, and that is not what you were made to do. You were made, like if I'm in physical pain, I'm going to a doctor. When my car breaks down, I'm going to a mechanic. Like you have to, when something happens in the house beyond my ability to repair, I call a repairman, right? A contractor. You have to rely on the wisdom and expertise of other individuals and professionals to guide you through a process. What are you waiting for? Meanwhile, things are getting progressively worse. The pain is building up. Things get tremendously worse. And now your relationship is on death's door. And it doesn't have to be. All you have to do is make a decision. And that is why Couples Academy is here. So guys, I hope you heard something today that was impactful for you, something to think about, a conversation to begin to have with yourself and your spouse as you consider what your next steps will be. Love you. See you tomorrow for another great episode. And make sure you tune in tonight for Danielle's Embracing Your Enneagram. But until then, see you in the AM.